star out of me. They'll make a film about a man who's sad and lonely, and all they gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star.
Hello and welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. I am Noel T. Manning II, coming to you from the campus of Cleveland Community College. This is C19 TV studios here. We've got a lot of stuff that happened here at the C19 TV studios. You can find all of those archived online at c19.tv. I'm here with my good friend. This is Nicholas Joseph Fury. Nicholas Joseph Fury right there. Didn't even know you had a middle name.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't either, not till recently.
I know,
So,
I know.
So good to see you, man. How
Yeah,
are
Mom
you?
never told me about the middle name.
Greg Tillman, the C19 TV station manager, and my co-host, reluctant co-host.
Very
Kind of like
reluctant.
A reluctant hero.
Even after what, almost 2 years,
I know.
I still don't know why I'm here.
I know. Well,
And I've not gotten better either.
well,
But everyone knows that. I don't know why I even have to say it.
You know what? It's better than talking to myself, and I do
Is it
that.
really?
I do it a lot, so trust me. Because when I
That
talk to
doesn't
myself,
sound healthy, but in this case, it might be
well,
healthy for the viewer.
when I talk to myself, I end up talking back, and that's when it gets really strange.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'd like to see that. Next week on Meet Me at the Movies.
Yes, Tim, are you here? Tim Foster there on the Tim Camp? Yes,
talk to
there
him.
he is. He's good to see you. Good to see you, man. Yeah, you know, you always have those, when you're feeling okay today. You're not feeling great, but I know you're excited. We do want to congratulate Gardner-Webb University, the Running Bulldogs basketball team, the men's basketball team. It's not a sports show, but this is big news for Cleveland County, the first time ever that we have had an NCAA appearance for the Running Bulldogs, any team really in this county. So it's big news. So congratulations, Running Bulldogs.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and next time we meet, we'll see if they're going to start making their way toward the Final Four.
Well, you're optimistic.
I'm
I know.
optimistic.
You have to be.
Absolutely.
It's in your job description, if nothing else.
Right. That's exactly right. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. We've also got a few more interviews. We had one of our viewers, was it John Rudisell?
Yeah.
John, call out to John Rudisell. Appreciate the emails that you send our way. And he said he appreciated the interview show that we did recently. He really enjoyed that. Well, we've got a couple more interviews we're hoping to get in today as well with some other filmmakers. And we also did get some non-viewer mail. This is in relation to the Trilogies show.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know
can't
we
say
had
that. The Trilogy show that we did recently. This comes from Julius L. Esquire. Julius L. Esquire. This is from Lawndale.
Sounds fancy.
Fancy, yeah. He's fancy. He said that he really enjoyed the show, although several of his favorite trilogies did not show up. I would highly encourage you both to consider doing a sequel to the Trilogy show.
First of all, I'm from Upper Cleveland County, and I don't know any Esquire families. That name doesn't ring a bell, but I think he has a point.
I think he does too, and I think we'll do that. But you know what? If it's a trilogy show, it ought to be a three-parter. So,
Trilogy on trilogies.
Yeah, so we'll do a sequel, and then we'll see what's left over, and then maybe we'll kind of expand it to cover franchises. That
maybe the worst trilogies.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Julius from Lawndale. We appreciate that, and we will take you up on that. Well, let's dive into this movie review for the film Captain Marvel. You know, there was a lot of interesting buzz going into this. The first Marvel female-led film, if I'm getting that out right.
Right.
DC did it with Wonder Woman, and now we've got Captain Marvel. There was a lot of buzz leading up to it. There were some technology bots out there that were trying to destroy this film even before it was released.
Why?
You know, I don't
Did you ever hear
know.
why?
I think it's the competition. I really think that somebody paid them from another studio to try to hurt Disney and what's happening
DC?
with the MCU.
Are we talking
Maybe.
Who
I don't
knows?
know.
All right.
I'm not gonna make any suggestions.
Nothing on the
that.
record. Huh?
But you know, there was a lot of negative buzz.
Yeah.
And some of it was, you know, you could say maybe some was legitimate, but others was definitely not. And there was intentional, some intentionality on trying to hurt this film's opening weekend. It didn't happen.
No, it didn't work.
It did not happen. The opening weekend for Captain Marvel ended up, you know, just breaking all sorts of records for this kind of film, for this time of year, and you know, one of the top openings of all time.
Something like 154 million domestic.
Yeah, opening weekend, and that's just in the U.S., but
Yeah.
worldwide, almost
400?
$500
Yeah.
million
Yeah.
after all was said and done. So did not impact the box office too much. You and I both got a chance to check this out, so give me your thoughts on this. It's a prequel origin story,
Right.
but it ties into everything else we've been seeing in these 20-plus films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Had a good soundtrack. Brie Larson was good. Her character, I thought, was underdeveloped.
Okay.
I mean, it looked fantastic. Every dime they spent was on the screen.
Yep.
Nice to see Samuel Jackson back in the mix a little more than he
Yeah.
has been in more recent
Agent Coulson.
Avenger movies. Yeah, nice to see him.
Yeah.
And I think they digitally
They did
made
that
him younger, I
with
think.
him and with Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jackson's like 79 years old.
Is he really?
I think so.
Wow,
Yeah,
he
I
doesn't
think
look
so.
it in that movie.
No, he does not.
I enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would.
Okay.
The story was a little muddled and maybe a little slow in the first half hour or so before it picked up speed. Hesitate to say I was disappointed, but I was a little disappointed.
Okay. Well, there was a lot to try to cram into this film.
Yeah.
Because you're
It was a little overstuffed.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Because you're getting an origin story, but there are a lot of flashbacks, a lot of things of her trying to recreate in her mind who she was. You know, when we're first introduced to her, she doesn't have memories of her past other than these glimpses that happen because she's being tortured.
Right.
And through being tortured, she starts having these flashbacks.
Right.
And so she's trying to piece together who she is. There's some great casting in this as well. You know, I really found this to be a lot of fun. I do think the story, there was a lot they were trying to do, and maybe too much. That's where I feel that overstuffed is probably a good thing for that. But I thought there was a perfect balance of humor. When she was cast, Brie Larson, I was not a big fan of the casting. I think she's a great actress, but I just couldn't see her in this role. I was surprised. I thought that she really was solid.
She was
funny.
Yeah.
The chemistry between her and Nick Fury or
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson really was. It felt organic.
Yeah,
to me.
it worked.
It felt organic. You will see friends from the past, as we talked about, and also you're going to meet some new friends, including a cat named Goose, which,
Yeah, the
which
cat.
is pretty interesting.
You think the cat stole the movie?
I think the cat was a great little punchline to the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
and some good comic relief throughout as well.
Yeah.
There were some twists and turns that if you're comic book fans and you're relying completely on the source material of the comic books, you might be surprised. I know some of the people I talked to who were huge comic book fans of
Really?
Captain Marvel were surprised. Sound design and the soundtrack both were just really, really solid.
Yep.
And took me back to my college days or even my early days of working with you at Headline News.
Yeah.
Some of that music from that time period. And so I thought it was a worthwhile popcorn flick. I think anybody looking to escape will enjoy it. Just so you know, one of the things I'm going to be doing later this week, I'm going to a 4DX screening of this.
What is that?
4DX is a new technology that's kind of taking you into the mindset of what would happen at a Disney theme ride. For instance, it's 3D, but also the seats will go back and forth. If there is an explosion, they'll pump in fog, like from stage fog you'd see on a stage show, and so
Right.
it's a very immersive experience.
Interesting.
Charlotte is one of only 16 locations in the country to have one of these, and they're just opening one this week at Regal Cinemas.
Wow.
Out at Phillips Place, and so I've got a invite to that, and so I'll have to give you an
Yeah,
update.
I'm not
Ticket
familiar
prices
with
are
it.
going to be about $22. So
Wow.
it's going to cost more, but if you want that kind of experience, it may be worth it. I'll give you my review of that when we come back.
And I hate to compare it to a ride I took at Carowinds years ago of a SpongeBob
Yeah.
virtual thing.
Right.
But it was 3D and the seats moved in relation to sound somewhat
Yeah, it
similar
does.
in a
It
way.
really does. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'll give you my take on that.
Yeah,
But,
okay, all
but
right.
I'll be seeing it on that screen. But the sound design and the soundtrack really were fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
What rating did you give MCU?
I'm going to go with a B minus.
B minus.
actually,
Okay,
yeah.
B plus for me. And Thomas also gave this a B plus. So there you go with the Captain Marvel. Do want to tell you about a foreign language film that is getting ready to open. It opened recently. It's a psychological drama starring Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem. This is directed by Oscar winner Asghar Farhadi. who did the movies, Spanish language films. He did films The Salesman and Separation. He's an Oscar winner. He doesn't speak Spanish, but he's directing this psychological Spanish thriller, and he's Iranian. And so it's interesting trying to figure out, okay, how do you direct a foreign language film when you don't speak the language?
How do you do that?
Well, you're good. That's how you do it. And he is an amazing talent, and he wrote and directed this film that stars, as I said, Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz. I got a chance to talk to Javier about the cultural impact of cinema, and also specifically this film, and he really had some high praise for the Oscar winner and director Oscar Farhadi. So you want to take a listen to that interview that we have a chance to do? Let's do that, and then we'll come right back with a break right after this.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have had an amazing opportunity throughout your career to take on multiple film roles. You found success in bringing compelling characters to life in multiple languages, regardless of the genre. What is it that attracts you to a character, and what is it that you found compelling about this role in the film everybody knows?
Well, thank you very much for what you said. It's very nice to hear that. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. But I tried. In the case of Oscar Farhadi, there is no doubt. If you really like performing and you are an actor to like to perform and to stick to the truth while you perform, if Oscar Farhadi calls you, you just say yes. You don't need to read the script. And that's what I did. I met him like 2 years before the movie was shot, and I sat down with him and I said to him, whatever it is, if you're asking me if I want to work with you, is yes. I don't know how big the role would be. I don't know if I will be 1 day or 3 months, whatever it is. And it happened to be a great role in a great movie.
It is a film that looks at secrets, dysfunction, family history. Why do you feel that this story is able to resonate across cultures and across languages?
Well, I think that's what he does as a movie director. He really brings situations that we are capable of understanding, no matter where we live and what language we speak. That's what he does with Separation or The Salesman, or about Ellie, all his filmography. I remember watching Separation in Spain in a movie theater and being so affected by it, so touched by it, that I could barely stand up when the credits were rolling. And I thought, if I could work with a director like this one day, and funny enough, I have the blessed to be able to work with him. So that's what he does, and that's what great movie directors do. Movies that really appeal to all of us, no matter where we're coming from. And this story is about people going through very tough, serious circumstances, but dealing with it in a very human, recognizable way. And that's why we are moved by it.
I find myself really fascinated by the international scope of this film. You had a Spanish-speaking film, yet the director did not speak Spanish. And so I'm fascinated by how that worked and wondering about the dynamic. Were there challenges?
It's funny because, of course, that's what you might think is going to be problematic, to have a director that does not speak or understand what I'm saying. But it was not like that at all. There was nothing lost in translation. We had 2 amazing translators on set, and it was very fluid, the whole communication. And on top of that, he's a great actors director. He knows exactly when you are lying and when you're not. And it doesn't matter what language you're speaking. And you could not really escape from the eyes of the truth that he's always owning behind the camera. And that was great as well.
How did this amazing director capture the Spanish life? Not speaking the language, not really familiar with the culture. What were some of the things that happened behind the scenes to make sure that what we saw on screen was authentic and real?
Well, he spent a good year in Spain, like traveling, going to different places, reading about it, having Spanish classes, because he actually understood some words and he kind of understood the dialogue that we had to say. But, and yes, he asked for some help here and there, but he mostly wrote everything by himself, which is extraordinary, having in mind that he's from Iran and does not really know much about the culture and about especially the relationships, the way we relate to each other in a little village like the one is shown in the movie.
And our guest, Javier Bardem, I just want to say thank you so much for this time. You have been marvelous. You've been wonderful. What an incredible talent that you are. And I just want to say blessings to you, your wife, and your family. And thank you again for this time.
Thank you very much, and blessings to you as well.
Hope you enjoyed that interview. Really, again, appreciate any of these filmmakers that give a chance to let us talk to them.
I still can't get over an Iranian director who doesn't understand or speak Spanish directing a Spanish language film.
Pretty fascinating.
That's kind of like ABBA, though.
Yeah, it is.
You know, ABBA had tons of American hits or in English.
Absolutely.
And they can't speak English. Maybe they can now, but then they...
So anyway, fascinating. The film is Everybody Knows, and it was a big hit at Cannes, and it's going to get international play as well. And I think really good films, it doesn't matter the language. And I think we're seeing more and more of that now, that if you're willing to take the time to dive into the story, it's well worth it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with a review of Apollo 11 and also interview the director and the editor of Apollo 11, Todd Douglas Miller, right after this intermission on C19 TV's Meet Me at the Movies.
Chef Paul Prudhomme once said, "You don't need a silver fork to eat good food." Well, on Cleveland County Kitchen, we don't have a silver fork, but we sure do serve up lots of good food. Hi, I'm Deborah Blanton. I hope you'll join me for the next Cleveland County Kitchen. Each month, we offer a complete farm-to-table experience. We visit local growers, we learn about nutrition, and wrap things up with wonderful meals prepared by our guest chefs. It's a lot of fun. I hope you'll join me for the next Cleveland County Kitchen.
Be a part of building the future. Be a welder. The Welding Technology program at Cleveland Community College prepares you with the science, the technology, and the skills to be a successful welder. Experienced instructors using state-of-the-art equipment train students using industry-standard skills developed through classroom training and practical application. Successful graduates are in high demand and are employed as entry-level technicians in welding and metalworking industries. Learn more. Call Cleveland Community College at 704-669-4077.
Education is our most powerful tool to improve and change our world. Hi, I'm Rhonda Benfield, your host for School Matters. Join me for a new program every other week with information from and about the students and staff of Cleveland County Schools. Discover what our schools are doing to challenge students and help them reach their full potential. You can catch us on Spectrum Cable Channel 19 or stream us live on c19.tv.
They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me.
Welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. Hope you're doing well. Noel T. Manning II here. Mr. Greg Tillman over there beside camera one. And back on the Tim Cam, got Tim Foster. And I know he was a little bit lonely. He only got to show up on camera once during that last break. But
I noticed that, and he reminded me of it more than once.
I know he talked to you during the break, and Javier, I'm sorry, man, Javier said he needed more time, and he said that in Spanish, but it was interpreted through an Iranian director.
So that's how it got mixed up.
That's how it got mixed up. So I do.
Well, his
apologize.
contract states a certain number of appearances on the show.
Right. Well, there it is. That's 10. Well, you're already up to 4, so you should be okay. Come back. Give you one more. All right, that's 5. All right, that's halfway through.
6.
All right.
7. 8. No, 8. Okay.
We'll save the other 2.
He's
to
holding
the
out
end.
to the end.
We'll save them to the end.
9.
New film.
That was 9.
New film Apollo 11. This is a documentary 50 years in the making. Todd Douglas Miller is the director and editor for this. We're going to interview him shortly on the show. And Thomas Manning, my son and I got a chance to check the screening out at an IMAX theater. This is all original footage, so 50 years old. All of the audio from this, 50 years old. Miller, one of the things he did was he scoured all the archives. He worked with NASA, he worked with CNN Films, and they got a release from Neon to get this a wide release. And it is absolutely, let me just say, visually it's stunning to watch something that was shot on that kind of footage that we've never seen before. And the amount of people, one of the things that really blew me away, and Thomas too, just the amount of people it took to make this launch happen.
Oh, yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds,
Sure.
and you get a chance to see that. You know, and you think back looking at the movie Apollo 13, you see Mission Control, but you don't see the hundreds of people in Mission Control. I mean, we're talking hundreds. And it just, that fascinated me more than anything. And for the fact that this was able to be a success, the actual landing.
Oh, it's incredible.
And them
with the
coming back,
technology they had 50 years
unreal.
ago.
So this movie follows the start, you know, before launch, get to know who these astronauts are, you get to know a little bit about the mission control, who they are, and some of the audio you're hearing is from them, some's from the astronaut, some's from Walter Cronkite, and other audio archives that they pulled up. But it's a fascinating documentary to watch on film. The music was original to this. Todd Douglas Miller will talk about that music and how that happened as well. But I was just a really unique and personal glimpse at something that we've all heard of and all know about, but we're seeing it from different perspectives. And the amount of people who were viewing it in parking lots, on beaches, and you have these flyovers of helicopters seeing these hundreds of people sitting there just waiting for this chance to view history.
Oh yeah, I'm a little older than you. I remember the Apollo landings and missions probably better than you do. I remember 11. I remember 13. I remember all of them. And I was fascinated as a kid. Every little boy at least wanted to be an astronaut when he grew up.
Yeah.
And you look at it now and you realize how primitive compared to today's technology the technology was then. This cell phone here has like 10,000 times the processing power of NASA's most powerful computer then.
Yes.
They would literally look out the windows with the sextant and try to figure out where they were, like they did on the high seas 500 years ago. Yeah, it's incredible. Amazing.
It really is, and you also get some footage from you know, inside the capsule, and you get to see footage that you probably haven't seen before. So if you get a chance to see this on the big screen, if you are a fan of history, if you're a fan of space history especially, it's worth it for that, if nothing else. Thomas, when we left, he said, you know, he says, I've seen 2 documentaries on the big screen recently. They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yes.
He said, and I saw this, and he said, I can't believe that I've seen 2 A+ documentaries on the big screen. And I'm right there with him, an A+ for this, just because of the technological achievement to pull something like this off, if nothing else. And so Apollo 11, well worth checking out. We did interview Todd Douglas Miller, and he spent about 5 or 6 minutes with us. He's going to talk about some of his thoughts about the making of this film. And first, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. And let's dive into that interview with Todd Douglas Miller.
Hey, Todd Douglas Miller. This is Noel Manning. I hope you're doing well today, sir.
I'm doing great. How are you down there?
Hey, I am wonderful. I am absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about this magnificent Apollo 11. Wow. What a fascinating journey that you have taken with this project. And I've been a fan of space exploration, both in documentary and in the sci-fi world since I was a kid. For you, what was the driving point where you said, oh, I've got to take something that is 50 years old and make it new again and find ways to show people and audiences things maybe they've never experienced before?
Well, it really started off as an editing exercise. You know, could we tell the story of Apollo 11 through all archival footage? and materials, because that, of course, included all the audio materials as well. So it started off as that, simply with pretty much everything that people had come to see, the images over the decades. But that quickly escalated once we were given new materials to work with. That included a cache of large format footage, as well as over 11,000 hours of Apollo 11 mission control audio.
Were you surprised by how much was out there that people had not had a chance to experience, especially in this way before?
Absolutely. It was as shocking as when people go to the theater and see it. It was as shocking to us when we were first alerted to it. But it wasn't, I would say the most shocking was when we saw the very first images of the large format footage, film footage. And those were of the Saturn V being rolled out to the crawler. And we realized that it wasn't just large format footage shot from the ground, but that these cameras were actually, they were aerial shots. So they had put these cameras into helicopters.
Wow.
So we realized the production quality right away, and that was very significant.
How many years did it take you to do this from development through where we are now?
Well, I would say that I wanted to make a film like this my whole life, so it goes back quite a ways. But when we really got into it, it took about 3 years to make.
Wow, wow, that's actually pretty impressive considering the amounts of footage and audio you pour through. One of the things that's really interesting to me on this also is the soundtrack. Talk about that soundtrack, and there's something a little different about it relating to the period, correct?
Yeah, and I'm just so proud of the entire team that we had working on this, from the sound guys to the film restoration experts. But certainly the music was something that we spent a lot of time on. It was made by a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other forever, my music composer, Matt Morton. He came to me very early. Usually when we do these things, we typically have we use temp music, and then we go in and we post-score the entire film. Matt came to me very early and wanted to use all instrumentation that was pre-1969, and he wanted to pre-score the entire thing. So from an editing standpoint, that was great, because I had the music to work with before I even started with the scenes.
Well, I am a big fan of documentary, have been for years, because it really is, it is truly showing audiences and letting the story unfold many times in the voices of those who were there, and that is definitely the case here. Any final thoughts that you want to make sure you share with audiences as they are exploring Apollo 11?
Well, I think it's just a testament to the people back then, and how just when a great number of us come together, we can accomplish great things. And I hope everybody checks it out on the big screen.
Todd Douglas Miller, our guest right here on Cinema Scene, and I really appreciate you talking about Apollo 11.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Todd. Thank you so much, Todd.
Am I supposed to edit that out?
Thank you so much, Todd Douglas Miller. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your film, Apollo 11. That was the director and the editor for this project. I do appreciate everybody tuning in right here on Meet Me at the Movies. As always, you can send us your email, info@c19.tv. Tim Foster with the Tim Cam, I think that's sighting number 10. I think we just made it, so I'm glad we did that. Greg Tillman over there beside camera 1. Appreciate you, buddy, as always. And I'm going to give you a quote of the week. We always wrap things off with a quote of the week. This is a film that ties into NASA and space aliens. This comes from 10 Cloverfield Lane. This is from Howard. You know, crazy's building your ark after the flood has already come. So there you go. For this week's Meet Me in the Movies, I am Noel T. Manning II, saying thank you so much for your time, and that's a wrap.
Trails to you.